Our prime driver for moving to an online assessment was that numbers on our module are growing year on year. So we've moved from about 80 students to 160, and that number of students is increasing. As well as that, what we're required to do at the university is to turn around the feedback on our examinations within a 6-week period. Now, this is really problematic because actually what we're doing when we assess this particular module is we're delivering the assessment at the beginning of the spring period, which is the same time that we're actually delivering teaching on other modules. And so it's really is a crunch point for us. And therefore, if we can have automated analysis of most of the responses or most of the assessment, then this really does help us to reduce the workload for us during this type period. There were sort of 2 or 3 things that we need to take into consideration. First was the pedagogy, so thinking about the types of questions that we asked the students. Because of that, we used both open and closed response questions, using the open response questions to get at maybe the critical thinking that was more difficult to get at with the closed response questions. The other issues, the technical issues, were related to security. So what we did was we used a locked down system. This meant that it was a completely different system to the one that's usually used in the university, a system where they couldn't access the outside world. Equally, the students, if they were outside the university, and even members of staff, cannot access the system. So in that sense, we have a very secure, tight system which wouldn't compromise the security of our closed examination. If another department were planning to actually introduce e-assessment, something I'd strongly consider, even though we're led to believe that students are now millennials, they've grown up with computers, actually our students really appreciated having a mock examination. And this was particularly important for them to refine their exam technique for use in this environment, because actually they can't do the things they normally do, such as making notes or highlighting questions perhaps in the same way. So what they need to do is actually experience this and develop their own way of working within this environment under exam conditions. In terms of the benefits, the main reason we chose this was the turnaround time in terms of the feedback. But actually there was another really important benefit to us. So we'd had difficulty when we were designing the original paper-based exam in pitching the exam at the right level. And actually we had to employ an intern to analyse the data from those examinations, so then we could decide which were the most difficult and which were the easiest questions, which discriminated between the students. The advantage when we ran the exam on the VLE for the first time was that this time we could actually do that all automatically, and now we can easily refine the examination year on year.